Vaxart fell under $7 yesterday. In fact, right before I went to bed last night, I saw it drop down to roughly $6.86. I went ahead and put in a limit order to purchase a bunch more shares once the market opens last night, hoping that when I woke up the next day and then once the market opened, I'd be able to acquire a bunch more shares at that low price. Because you know what I know, VXRT is waiting to pop. But with recent news and the freaking lawsuit that's going on, which of course, you know, the pump and dump scheme that they're being alleged to have conspired, which truthfully, I do see that happening. Another thing I do see happening is VXRT coming out ahead with the latest COVID-19 vaccine oral tablet candidate. Lo and behold, today, October 5th, 2021, VXRT announced that phase 2 trials has begun. So let's hear it for VXRT. It is ready to go. Trials will begin today for VXRT. It has been posted to the clinicaltrials.gov website. We can see it titled "A Phase 2 Trial with an Oral Tableted COVID-19 Vaccine." For more information, stay tuned. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. This is One Talk Sundays midweek podcast. And I mean, we all know why we're listening to this. You know why you clicked on this podcast. You want to hear what's the latest with VXRT. Is it going to the moon? Is it stalling? What is happening? And here right now is the information that I have for you. Today, October 5th, 2021, VXRT listed phase 2 on clinicaltrials.gov. It is a go. It is a go. It is a go. And they are actively recruiting. Recruitment status shows that they are recruiting. First posted today, October 5th, 2021. And what are they recruiting for? Is phase 2 of their clinical trials of their oral tablet for the COVID-19 vaccine. Now, what we have here on this posting is a brief summary, and I'll go ahead and let you know as far as like expected due dates and everything, because I was reading through it earlier today and we have some interesting information. But first, let's go ahead and start at the top here with a brief summary. Part 1 of this phase 2 trial is an open label dose and age escalation phase to evaluate the safety and immunogenicity of VXA-CoV2-1.1-S with a repeat dose vaccination schedule in healthy adults aged 18 to 75 years old that are either vaccine naive or have received prior vaccination with an mRNA messenger ribonucleic acid vaccine for the prevention of COVID-19. Part 2 of these phase 2 trials. This phase will assess the efficacy of prophylactic VXA-CoV2-1.1-S against confirmed COVID-19 occurring from 7 days after second dose, with a repeat dose vaccination schedule in healthy adults compared to placebo. Safety and immunogenicity of VXA-CoV2-1.1-S will also be evaluated in this phase. Now, what does this mean? It means it's an open label dose ranging phase of the study to determine the safety and immunogenicity of an orally administered tablet adenoviral-vector based vaccine expressing a SARS-CoV-2 antigen and dsRNA adjuvant. Post-screening activities, healthy adult volunteers, either naive or prior vaccinated with an mRNA COVID-19 vaccine, age 18 to 55 years old, and then 56 to 75 years old will be enrolled into the study in 8 subgroups. They will be divided into 8 groups. Now, participants will receive either a low or a high dose of an oral tableted vaccine at days 1 and day 29. The total study period will last approximately 2 months during the active phase, with a total 12-month safety follow-up period post last vaccination. Safety, reactogenicity, and immunogenicity assessments will be performed at set times during the study active and follow-up periods. Subjects will be monitored for symptoms of COVID-19 throughout the duration of the study follow-up period. An independent data monitoring committee will provide safety oversight through the duration of the trial. Safety and immunogenicity data will inform on the dose selection for Part 2, which will be a placebo-controlled phase with the vaccine dose level selected from Part 1. Subjects will receive 2 doses of vaccine or placebo at days 1 and 29. Subjects will be followed as in Part 1 for safety and immunogenicity. They will also be followed for 6 months for efficacy of their respective dosage. Now, so what we all really want to know, how long is this going to take for us to make it a phase 3? How long is it going to take for us to get something out to market? What are we going to get? Well, what's proposed here is that the estimated primary completion date is March of 2022. Now, if you remember in previous videos, I did say we were looking at spring to summer of 2022 for an actual tablet to come out from Vaxart. So this is looking to be around that time frame. They said the estimated primary completion date is March of 2022. Now, the primary completion date is the date on which the last participant in the clinical study was examined or received an intervention to collect final data for the primary outcome measure. Now, whether the clinical study ended according to the protocol or was terminated does not affect this date. So for clinical studies with more than one primary outcome measure with different completion dates, this term refers to the date on which data collection is completed for all the primary outcome measures. The estimated primary completion date is the date that researchers believe will be the primary completion date for the study. Now, they also did indicate an estimated study completion date. Now, it's broken from a primary completion date to the estimated study completion date. Now, that study completion date, they have it at June of 2023, i.e. summer of actually not even next year, summer of the following year. Now, granted, we hope to get a pill out way before then because we're sitting on Vaxart and we're waiting on Vaxart, and who knows if COVID-19 is still going to be a major thing 2 years from now. God forbid. We hope not. I mean, we've already had it for 2020. We had it all this year. We hope. I mean, honestly, I know it's kind of shooting myself in the foot when it comes to being invested in Vaxart. I hope to be done with this virus real soon, this coronavirus. But needless to say, the estimated study completion date is going to be June of 2023. Now, the study completion date is the date on which the last participant in the clinical study was examined or received an intervention or treatment to collect final data for the primary outcome measures, secondary outcome measures, and any adverse events. Now, the estimated study completion date is the date that the researchers believe will be the completion of the actual study, phase 2 trial study. Now, of course, as I said previously, that part 1 of phase 2 would be to give break the individuals down into 8 subgroups and give them either a low dose or a high dose on day 1 and day 29. And at that point, they would be doing a follow-up with them for that full period, which they said the total study period will last approximately 2 months during the active phase, with a 12-month safety follow-up period. So even after they'll give them the pills and they check them out for the following month, they check them out for the 6 months to determine the next dosage and what part they're going to play in part 2 of the clinical trial. There's that additional 12-month safety follow-up just to make sure everything is fine. Now, what else do we have here? Now, they actually have broken down here's arms and interventions and intervention treatment. I mean, you can actually go on the website clinicaltrials.gov and look it up yourself. What I'll do is I'll go ahead and put the link in the description box. But I just wanted to share with you guys that phase 2 is commencing. They are actively recruiting. They are looking for people. And actually, I'm going to give you some of the criteria of the people that will qualify for this study. Inclusion criteria includes 18 to 75 years of age. Or cohort 1, phase 1, you need to be either naive of any prior vaccination for the prevention of COVID-19, or for COVID, or cohort 2, you have received prior immunizations. That means you would have to have both doses, so you had to be fully vaccinated with an emergency use authorization or FDA approved mRNA vaccine for the prevention of COVID-19, i.e. Moderna, Pfizer, or Johnson & Johnson, at least 6 months prior to enrollment. So that would have to be completed at least 6 months prior to enrollment. So you couldn't just get it done today and then jump into enrollment tomorrow. It's not enough time. Now, you also have to be in stable and good health without significant medical illness based on medical history, physical examination, vital signs, and clinical laboratory tests. There's also different laboratory values. Your BMI has to be between 7 and 30 kilograms. At screening, you got to be capable of providing signed, informed consent. You have to be available for all planned visits and phone calls and willing to complete all protocol-defined procedures and assessments. Contraception used by men or women should be consistent with local regulations regarding the methods of contraception for those participating in clinical studies. Female participants must not be breastfeeding and must have a negative pregnancy test at screening and before each vaccination and fulfill one of the following criteria: at least 1 year postmenopausal. Women under 60 years will need to verify postmenopausal status via a follicle-stimulating hormone test if another option to prevent potential pregnancy will not be utilized for 30 days prior to baseline vaccination. Surgically sterile use of oral implantable, transdermal, or injectable contraceptives for 30 days prior to initial vaccination and until 60 days after the last vaccination. You need to have a reliable form of contraception, must be approved by the investigator, and cannot be sexually active or be in a relationship with the partner who is sterile. Ooh, that's rough there. Things that will get you kicked out or eliminated from inclusion in this criteria: clinically significant acute illness within 72 hours, cancer, chronic kidney disease, COPD, immunocompromised state from solid organ transplant or other medical condition. The list goes on. You can find all this on the website. Like I said, I'm going to go ahead and put the link in the description box. But phase 2 has begun, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see what Vaxart has to do for us. We out here. We getting it. Vaxart to the moon. Hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Let me know if you riding this Vaxart train to the moon, this ship to the moon. And let's get this money, man. I bought some more this morning, even though I couldn't get it at the price that it was last night. But I bought some more. And I'm going to continue loading up on VXRT until it pops. Because when it pops, I'm going to be sitting on a beautiful nest egg. This is Stevie B from your investment bro at Money Talk Sundays. Thanks for tuning in. Again, like, share, subscribe. I love you. I'm out.